Our journey begins in the northern tips of Scotland.
While conquistadors like Juan Ponce de Leon set sail for the Americas searching for the Fountain of Youth, according to urban legend, the secret to eternal beauty was right there in Europe. The Sligatron Bridge is located in Sligatron, Scotland, and is one of 25,000 masonry arch bridges in Ireland, steeped in heritage and tradition. As legend goes, there was a great warrior woman, Scatach, who lived on the Isle of Skye. The greatest warrior of Ireland, Cuchulainn, heard about her and sailed for the island to demand a battle. This battle shook the earth, and it raged for weeks on end, creating valleys and mountains in the countryside. Scared, Scatach's daughter realized that the only way the fighting would end was with a death, and she fled to the river beneath the Sligatron Bridge and cried, begging for the war to end. Little did she know, the river was a gateway into the fairy world, and the fairies heard her pain and told her to dip her head into the water below the surface for 7 seconds. When she drew out her face, she knew what to do. She decided to make a yummy stew and set the pot out, fanning the smoke across the hills. The two warriors smelled the stew and realized how hungry they were from the fighting. They came to eat together at Scatach's home, and in doing so, Cuchulainn became Scatach's guest. Therefore, neither could fight each other anymore, and the war ended. According to legend, if you dip your face into the water and submerge it for 7 seconds and let it dry by the sun, you will have eternal beauty. Either way, it's a great place to visit for hiking, and has been in the village in between the Cuillin Mountains, has been a haven for mountaineers and naturalists for many years.
Next, we travel across the North Sea until we make it to our next destination.
The Oresund Bridge might not have as interesting of a past as some of the other bridges in this series, but it's equally as impressive. The Oresund Bridge connects Denmark to Sweden. It's an 8-kilometer stretch, with the latter half of the stretch on the Swedish side being underground, and most of the bridge being completed by the Danish government. The bridge functions as a transport hub for trains and for vehicles, but it's encouraged for trains and public transport, as the smallest vehicle size is still 65 euros to cross, or 65 Danish kroner. The bridge was completed in 2000 and is constantly referenced as one of the greatest feats of modern engineering, simply because of the amount of building time and because of the tunnel that connects part of the tunnel, part of the bridge. And then the bridge, it's called the Oresund Bridge. It means sound in English, and it's used because it connects a ton of people trying to speak. It connects internet data from mainland Europe to East Europe, essentially, and also consists of a lot of air transport data and international and data transmitting across international waters. This bridge is truly an art of modern engineering, and if you ever get to see it, lucky you. That's all I can say.
As our journey continues, we make our way to the Rhine River, which has long been a strategic military position for empires of the past, as well as the location of the Ludendorff Bridge. Originally built by Germany in World War I to deliver reinforcements and supplies to troops in the Western Front, the bridge at Remagen became one of the most critical and important bridges of World War II. When Americans discovered the bridge, they were shocked to see it still standing, considering its strategic importance. Throughout history, it can be seen that the lack of a bridge for the defensive side is just as important as the existence of a bridge for the offensive side. After capture, the Americans were able to transport more than 125,000 troops in addition to tanks, trucks, artillery, and supplies to the other side of the Rhine River in only 10 days of operation. After multiple failed attempts, the Germans were finally able to destroy the bridge, but it was too late, and the Americans' capture of the Ludendorff Bridge significantly shortened the course of the war. The bridge has never been rebuilt, which highlights the fact that there are many bridges which do not serve any purpose except for their use in warfare. Another perfect example of this, in the same very location, can be seen from 2,000 years ago. When Caesar was told by his enemies that the Rhine was the limit of his power, he constructed an 100-meter-long bridge in only 10 days to prove Rome's military might. It was the first bridge ever recorded over the Rhine River and is considered a masterpiece of military engineering. When Caesar's conquests on the other side were finished, the Roman legionaries returned and dismantled the bridge once again, showing its sole purpose as a military tool. Heading east, we find our way to a bridge with a rather sinister story.
I'm going to be talking about Raketsbrück, which is one of the Devil's Bridges in Europe. So this bridge in particular is located in Saxony, Germany, and I chose to research it because I thought the legends surrounding it were pretty interesting. So the bridge is built in a way that it creates a perfect circle when it's reflected on the water below it. And the belief is that since the arc is so difficult to build into that perfect circle, then it must have been built with the help of the devil himself. So this belief lends itself to a few legends about the bridge and the devil. The first one being that the architect who planned the bridge had to make a deal with the devil where the devil would get to take the soul of the first person to cross. Another legend says you'll uncover mystical abilities if you sail under the bridge during a full moon. One talks about the bridge as a portal to another world, and the final one that I found was that if you look at the bridge sideways, then you'll see the face of the devil himself. So yeah, that's Raketsbrück, and aside from being a pretty cool piece architecturally, the legends surrounding it make for a pretty interesting tourist destination while also giving a glimpse into a bit of medieval German history.
Next up, we head to a city known for its 300-plus bridges.
Constructed from 1357 to 1402, the Charles Bridge is one of the most famous in all of Europe. Ordered by its namesake, King Charles IV, the first Bohemian ruler emperor, it was to replace the Judith Bridge, which had been damaged by flooding. As the only crossing for the river Vltava, it was an important trade route connecting Central and Eastern Europe. It also connected the city to its castle, tying Charles's power to it. During the late 17th and early 18th century, the bridge was adorned with 30 monuments to important saints of the Czech people. The bridge remained the most prominent and powerful bridge in Prague until built from 1967 to 1973, the Neusiedl Bridge is a projection of Soviet power onto Prague. Connecting inner Prague with its southern administrative areas, almost all north-south traffic passes through the Neusiedl Bridge. It spans over a valley, not a river, and reaches a height of 115 meters, dwarfing the many six-story buildings under it. Both of these bridges serve major roles in terms of transport around the city. However, they also reflect the governments that built them. The Charles Bridge, modeled after a bridge in Germany, represents the city's connection to Western Europe, where King Charles had power. The Neusiedl Bridge, a large concrete stamp, represents the Soviets' immense power over the city.
For our final destination, we head south to one of the most famous travel destinations in the world.
The Fiordo di Fior continues to capture awe and excitement in life. Located near the town of Fior on the Amalfi coast, is given this name Terra Fioris, aka Land of Fury, because of the loud crashing of the waves on the cliffs. It's important to note that despite the name, Fiordo di Fior is not actually a fjord, as those are formed by glaciers. It's actually a ria, which is a valley that opens up to the sea. In the ria, there's a small fishing village. One of the most famous Italian actresses used to live there, as well as famous director Roberto Rossellini. There's an ancient legend that says that the devil visited the town of Fior, and he didn't like the way that he was treated, so he left slapping his feet, causing the deep inlet. In ancient times, the ria used to host factories, which paper was made and dried down in the valley. One of the most famous notable things about the bridge is that it was the location of the film L'Amore by Roberto Rossellini, the director who also lived there. He's claimed as a master of Italian neo-realist cinema. In July every year, there's an international diving competition. It's called Mar Meeting. It takes place from the bridge over the ria.
Europe is one of the most diverse places in the world, and bridges have proven to be a fantastic lens to get a glimpse of the incredibly diverse culture, history, and significance of the 6 regions that we have looked at today.